Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon video. Today is going to be a double unboxing. So I usually get 4 boxes of any given set. That used to be a case of any given set. But money's been tight, Nationals was expensive, so 2 boxes was all I reasonably can afford this time around. So, yeah, this set is Chains of Liberation EX08. It is an EX set, so it follows normal EX standards, except the rumor has it that this set is actually kind of seeded. According to basically all of the information that we've been gathering, there's going to be 2 seeds. One seed is going to be Dynamon Herc Ace, Calismon Pied Ace, and Bolt Aboutmon as Seed 1, and Seed 2 is Metal Seedramon, Scottymon, Sukuyamon X, Justimon X, and Pyramidi. And then Aegis and Barbara X look like they're the actual random SRs, along with the alt arts being random and the secrets being random. So, yeah, I think that the set thematically and flavor-wise is actually pretty decent, but card pool-wise is something to be desired, and I'll get into that more in a second. But let's just open these up to see if that kind of information on the seeds of the box are true or not based on my very small sample size. So, it looks like I lost the 50-50 on getting the secret rare, which is pretty unfortunate considering my overall thoughts on the set, and I'm going to be talking about it more in the next episode of my podcast. If you haven't listened to the podcast, it's actually pretty decent. It's a Digitalks podcast here on this channel, while also being on Spotify and over on Twitch. But when it comes to my overall thoughts on the set, I'm not very high on the set at all. So, one, it looks like the seeds are kind of true, but it looks like I 100% was in the Metal Seedramon seed. And then it looked like the last super rare that I got is more or less random. So that's kind of great, but that does mean that Aegis-Dramon and Barbermon are actually not in any dedicated box, and those are going to be a little bit harder to pull, supposedly, as a result, because they're not in any particular seed. So that's kind of interesting to note, but the box behaved basically otherwise exactly the same as EX7. I do like the fact that we do get a foil uncommon and a foil common in every booster box. It really does add to the value and spice things up, but I think that as a result with this set more specifically, the value is going to be immensely low on anything but the secret rares, because nothing in this set is actually incredibly that strong. So there are some really cool things going on inside of the sets for new players and returning players alike, which is always nice, but when it comes to where the current state of the game is, none of these decks are actually going to have any real tangible impact without any additional support. So while Dinomon and building like Ryutaro dinosaurs is kind of cool, and building like Scottymon and the Nightmare Soldiers, and Deep Savers and the update to Nature Spirits is all well and fine. You also have Sakuyamon X and Justimon X and Gallant X to build towards, but Gallant X is literally going to be the strongest thing inside of the set when it comes to upgrading a deck, and when it comes to building a deck, it's kind of like Ryutaro Dinosaurs and Pyramidia are probably going to be the two strongest decks that you could try to build right out of the gates, and you are going to want to invest in outside cards if you're a new player in order to actually make those decks stronger. But the fact that the majority of the cores in this set is really nice. You could build pretty much all of Nightmare Soldiers and Deep Savers with just this set, which is cool for newer players. But again, the overall meta relevancy, impact, and strength of the cards are a lot lower than where, we currently are in the state of the game. So as a result, the majority of the attention is not even going to be on the super rares, and everyone's just going to be trying to hit the secret rare chase. So that's going to drive the price of the super rares down as a result, because the only thing worth anything in this entire set is Gallantmon X and Medieval Gallantmon. So let's open up the Legendary pack and the Upgrade pack, clean all this up, and move on to box 2 to see what seed we get in the second box, which I think having seeded boxes is a little bit on the unfortunate side, because that just ruins the overall box opening experience, knowing almost exactly what you're going to be getting based on like your first two super rares. So I do always like the idea that they kind of stopped with dash packs, and they just threw these types of cards in the booster boxes. Does drive more sales to the booster boxes, because this is the only way to get these types of packs. But yeah, so this is everything that I opened in this box. Let's see if box 2 we can do any better. Alright, so it looks like in box 2 I did just as bad as box 1. So yeah, losing out on the 50-50 between the secrets twice is absolutely brutal because, as I'm kind of stressing, the secrets are literally the only things that are even remotely worth buying this set for because everything else is kind of just not great. I think when it comes to the seeds, I do believe seed number 2 is what I'm going to be labeling it as better, where Metal Seedramon, Scottymon, Sukuyamon, Justymon X, and Pyramidimon just feels better, just because, like, from a value perspective, based on where I kind of was looking at the secondary market, Pyramidimon's, like, averaging, as of the recording of this video, around $8 to $9, and Metal Seedramon's averaging around 5 to 6, and everything in here is just a lot less value, with Dinomon being around $6-7, being the biggest hit of this box, or, like, of this seed. So, it does kind of suck, but that's just the nature of the beast, and the alt arts aren't even necessarily holding that strong. We don't really have any, like, hyper stand out, like, SR alt arts or even rare alt arts, just because, again, the power level of the set is a lot lower compared to the other sets that we've been playing with. That's usually par for the course when it comes to EX sets, so it's not that surprising. It just doesn't change the fact that it doesn't make it a very desirable product. And at least, like, they do try to increase the value with EX sets because they know this. So, like, at least having good extras is always nice. And then the fact that we do have, like, foil, commons, and uncommons is also pretty good at just trying to add in some extra value to make up for the fact that the rest of the box kind of sucks. So, I'm probably not going to be investing any more into the set just because it's the secret chase, and I don't feel like playing that game. As you can see, I kind of just lost it twice in a row, but that's just my luck. So after cleaning up everything, this is going to be the final result of my pulls and how I kind of just laid it out. So I obviously didn't pull very good, and going forward from this set, I'm obviously not going to be buying any more because this is going to sound a little bit negative, and I do apologize for that, but I think this set just flat out sucks as my final summary. This is a set I would probably stay very far away from in terms of opening, and I would just buy the singles of anything that you need because the singles should be relatively cheap considering the way that booster boxes work in the past, where when the secrets are super hot, the supers become not hot. And especially when all of these decks are not highly competitive, that adds to the compounding element of where I would just stay away from the set. I think there's obviously better things that you could invest in because as a player, like, why would I, outside of the fact that I kind of think that a particular deck is cool, invest into a deck when I know that deck isn't going to be anywhere near powerful or competitive, when I could put literally the same, like almost the same effort and money into a more competitive deck and have more success with it when it comes to being able to play in a locals environment or just any competitive environment, period. So I don't necessarily think highly of the set. You can kind of tell that the set was a little bit rushed and left out to die, and maybe that rushedness is where, like, these seeds kind of formed, was because of those mathematical errors in how the printing process worked. So we haven't really had a big seeding issue since, like, BT4. That was the last time I remember, like, the seeds were this egregious and mapped. And it is rather unfortunate because it does hurt the overall value of the box, knowing that what you see is what you're going to be able to pull when it comes to, like, opening up a couple of packs to see if the rest of the box is kind of worthwhile or not. So that is just straight up unfortunate. But I think, like, the main focus is probably going to be on Special Booster 2.5, and obviously between this and 2.5, 2.5 is going to be where I would want to put the majority of the value and effort into when it comes to opening up booster boxes. So I'm not saying, like, this box is, like, that bad. It's just something I wouldn't recommend pulling on, and it's just better to buy the singles instead. But yeah, not to harp on anything that I haven't already said before and am going to say in the podcast, that's just kind of the nature of the beast, and I'll just leave it here. So feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and while you're down there, also feel free to tell me your polls, because obviously they're probably a little bit better than what I did. And while you're down there, you might as well leave that like and subscribe if you like this type of content and want to see more of it, so that way I know to, well, try to make more of it. Also, feel free to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date when I go live next with any of my live streams or when I post next with any of my future videos. And with that, I hope to see everyone in the next video.